tomorrow I'll be sitting in paradise. But hello sunshine, goodbye rain. Yeah, shorts, tank tops, and flip-flops is all you bring.
This is PopImpressKA Journal, and we're here with Joe Vulpis.
That's me. I'm
That's
the Joe.
right. Joe Bear. Joe Bear.
Thank you.
And Joe Pisciano.
Picciano.
Pisciano. That's an Italian, right?
It certainly is.
So this is Joe Bear's band.
Yes.
That's that one.
And this is Joe Bear,
Yeah.
who's the founder.
Yeah.
And you also have a co-founder.
Yeah, we do. We kind of kicked things off a few years back, and I took the drummer along from another band, and he wasn't able to come with us tonight. But Mr. Billy Burns is a co-founder with me as far as starting this whole project. The whole band consists of myself, Joe Picciano on guitar, Billy Burns on drums, Bill Burns Jr. on bass guitar, and Mr. Steve Demiri is playing some piano, and Mr. Joe Vulpis, our lovely producer, and the man driving the ship here, basically.
The third Joe.
Yeah.
Third Joe.
The Joes.
So with 3 Joes today.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe Vulpis actually is a man behind the Lady Gaga, and who actually gave the world this musical phenomena. But also Joe is working with amazing artists, and he picked Point, Joe Bear's band, and this guy has been working with him for a while. And amazing songs that I've been listening to for the past 2 weeks.
Thank you.
And I'm very excited, and she's with a band I think was my favorite song.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well, we need you for the video.
To the writer and
We should
producer.
put her in the video.
So, Joe, could you please tell me, how did you met with Joe and the other 2 members?
Yeah, well, this Joe I've known. How long have I known you?
I met you in '97.
Can we tell the
Maybe
world what your
96.
day job is?
Sure.
This is Clark Kent over here. He's a trader. I met Joe downtown in Wall Street. I was the piano player for a high-rise,
55 Broadway.
55 Broadway, and Joe was a broker upstairs. And so we had met intermittently. We'd always talk on the breaks and stuff. And
Yeah, because I would approach him and talk to him. Oh, what else do you do? And I was probing to see if he knew any female singers, because I was doing some tracks. So we just started a rapport, and then became friends. And then it was around a year ago.
we reconnected.
Yeah, I called him because we had a keyboard player, and he felt that we were working too much, and he had to quit. This guy was great too, and I was just like, well, who am I going to get to replace him? So I figured, let me give Joe Vulpis a shot. He's not going to play, but it was some time since I spoke to him, and I said, I'll just see what's happening with him.
Yeah.
And he called me back, and he was like, I'm not so much interested in playing as I am interested in hearing your band.
That's right.
So then you came to see us, and he had this catalog of music, and he turned us on to it. And it was just, it was like a marriage at that point. It was
Yeah.
like it just locked,
Well, I was
Plus, he was a lot richer this time since I met him for,
Before. Now, what was the very first song that you actually tried to play together and you put together as a first act, as a band
What
with
was the
Joe?
first one?
The first.
Just drink and talk.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
If This Drink Could Talk, a song that
It's a funny song.
Joe had written, and it's a real upbeat, country rock type song that everybody that's got any kind of line dance experience, which we run into quite frequently, love this song, and we threw it out a few times in live situations, and it would pack out dance floors, and people thought we were playing somebody's cover, in which we kind of were, because
cool.
we didn't write it, I didn't write it, and we had some great feedback from that. But that was the initial one, and then from there it kind of stemmed on to the country thing, which is out on iTunes now, and she's with the band, and now we're tapping into some real cool stuff. Also, Cowboy in New York City, and a song called "I Got You" that Joe wrote. Basically everything that he's thrown at me. We've spent a lot of time over here in his studio and stuff, and he sat me down and Joe and stuff down and said, listen, I got some great songs. I think, Joe, it would be perfect for my voice. And just started playing little snippets of all these songs. And we're like, yeah, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. Well, this is cooler than that.
That's right.
And it was we spent hours here, and he's like, so what do you want to do? I'm like, man, I'm scratching my head. Leave this, but I don't know. There's so many great songs, and I got to compliment him on his songwriting.
It's a marriage.
Yeah.
A lot of the songs that he
I
had
was looking
penned.
for this group
Yeah.
without knowing it. And actually, matter of fact, the great Pete Bennett was the one, and Arthur too.
Yes.
They said, you got to work with these guys, because when I was listening to these guys, Pete Bennett's a world, he's passed since recently, but he's world-renowned radio man. I mean, you can look him up. He brought the Who, Paul McCartney. He's worked with. The Beatles. He brought to the United States.
Everybody, Elvis, King Cole, like everybody you can think of.
A dear friend of ours, and I introduced him to these guys. He came to see him at a big show out east, and I was always saying, I just need to find a band that will quote unquote marry the material, because I do cuts with so many people, and it's like one or two, and they never do anything with it, and then all of a sudden he calls me looking for a keyboard player, and I was just like, hold on a second, this is what I've been waiting for. I want to hear the band. And as soon as I heard these guys, it's like I immediately knew the energy from the phone call. I said, hold on, I got to listen to the band. And I heard these guys, and I'm like, ding, the light bulb went off. And I just said, listen, I apologize in advance for any over-aggressiveness. I'm like, but I want you guys to play something I'm working on.
So you say that was a good broker then, huh?
You were a good broker.
You found
You were a
the right, find the right merger.
Well, no, I worked with this building.
That's why I'm in the middle.
And then I went on the road for a while. When I went on the road, I think is when we lost touch. I went out of the country for a while. And,
Yeah.
And then, but we kept in touch. We always got along. We had some other stray friends that came in and out of our friendship that were crazy. But Joe and I always got along well.
Now, how does it for you to work with everybody? Because I know everybody has a crazy schedule, and I know you have long hours as well. How do you put together the material? Does it take you a few takes? Do you usually do it in one shot until you're done? Usually, what's the process?
As far as recording, like a song with Mr. Vulpis? Well, I don't know how he is with other artists that he works with, but for me, which is what I always kind of need someone, kicking me in the hiney like this to get like
With
the best out of me.
He likes the
Also,
punch.
Yeah.
those are
With the
fantastic.
best out of you getting this? But to get back, I've always kind of been, I do much better when I got somebody kind of on my back about things. You know what I mean? And I've always kind of needed that And like we say, it was kind of a marriage, and we've become great friends. And in the studio situation, you know, we spent an awful lot of time on Country Thing, and she's with the band just to get the vocal that Joe was looking for, and that we were all happy with, and the sound, and he kept apologizing, like, you know, man, I'm sorry I'm beating you up in here. You know, it's a 3-4 minute song, and we're spending hours and hours doing these cuts. But you know what? I totally understand it. We've all worked in the studio before, and it's like I say, I need that to kind of get the best out of me. You know what I mean? Because I'm kind of the guy that'll go in and sing a couple of lines and try to settle on, you know, oh, I think that sounds good, you know, but knowing in my head maybe it really isn't, maybe a bit lazy, you know. But I need someone like that to kind of keep me. Yeah.
Actually, in all honesty, we all do it for each other, because
yes,
I think Joe P over here does a lot of the rehearsal prep, right?
Yep.
He's always sending MP3s out. I take care of more of the production stuff, and then during the week, I mean, Donna's not on the camera right now, but you know, between the management and kind of, you know, fueling the week, then these guys come into play.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been times Joe's like, you know, he'll call me and text me and say, all right, cool, so what's next? What's next? What's next? And I'll just be flying in from wherever, and I'm like, hold on, give me a second.
Yeah.
You know? But there's always something happening, but it's good though, because, you know, it's we're good for each other. That's what's good. It's really hard to work with people all the time and get along, and when you do, you take it.
And I had to sell you a little bit on, like, you know, give someone else the control, let them run.
Yeah, no, he did. Yeah.
But it's not even
Joe
about egos. You got to
No,
realize that.
it's just,
Me,
you know, it is.
Yeah, no, it's,
I would never double sell anything. This is the band. I mean, this is the band I've been waiting for to do the music. And you guys, we always say
We've gained tremendous momentum.
we have momentum.
September.
Yeah, well, there's a lot going on.
6 months.
Yeah, a lot of big
Yeah.
things, a lot of
Yes.
personnel changes in the band, and just energy, and people are responding nicely. Nice little radio shows here and there.
yeah, nice,
You know.
nice big live shows. And
You got some big ones coming up, actually.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we got a.
And it's country rock, so it's actually Nashville's, and then you can cross over to any style you can. or
Actually,
you want.
those that you heard, I think could definitely cross over to rock radio and pop radio, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Americana.
definitely crossover material.
Now, what was the first show that you did all together as a Joe Bear band, and it was just smashing? And you're like, oh my God, it's actually happening.
Well, you know, I got to bring up one point. We did last year. We played a show out in Long Island, Brookhaven Amphitheater.
Yeah, that was a great show.
And there was when we hit the stage, we played with Dierks Bentley and Justin Moore and a few artists out of Nashville. They're very established acts, and the place, when Dierks went on, there was about 10,000 people there. So when we were on a little early in the day, maybe we had 5, 6, 7,000 people. When we kicked off, and fans and friends and foes and whatever was out there heard She's with the Band, it's the first time we threw it out in a big situation like that. And the response after that song was, I had goosebumps. And as hot as the stage was with the lighting and all this kind of stuff, it was a moment
That was the moment.
I think that was it, man. It was like, you know what, let's put this thing in, lock this thing in high gear and let's go, you know. But that was a great moment.
And then what made you to go towards country and rock? Was it an influence of some other genre that you...
Well, for me, you know what, I had played all kinds of stuff growing up, and I was out in California doing the hard rock thing for a little while, and kind of experienced with a bunch of different genres and stuff. So that's kind of my comfort zone. Being in, I love country, I love the slow ballads, I love this, but I also love, I can't do that for too long. I have to have, you know what I mean? I have to have a little bit of energy. Like I can't sit in this chair for too long. So it's I gotta kind of do something after a couple songs to get that momentum back up. And the songwriting that Joe's presented us with is it's perfect fit. You know, it's got that energy.
There you go, Pete.
Sure, go ahead.
All right. nation is here, long overdue, it's true. Well, I got me a ticket, gonna jump that plane. Yeah, fed up with the weather, it's time for a change. This time tomorrow I'll be sitting in paradise. But hello sunshine, goodbye rain. Yeah, shorts, tank tops, and flip-flops is all you bring. Got my toes nestled down deep in the sand, cold margarita in my left hand. Hello sunshine, goodbye rain, yeah. With one day left, done everything I planned to. Well, fun in the sun, jet ski, scuba and more. Not to mention at Poncho Joe's, one senorita gave a hell of a show. Yeah, let's just say I woke up with a smile on. Hello sunshine, goodbye rain. Hey, shorts, tank top, flip-flop is all you bring. Got my toes nestled down deep in the sand, cold margarita in my left hand. Hello sunshine, goodbye rain, yeah. Ready to board, but I'm running late. If I'm not back Monday morning, out beside my face. Hello sunshine, goodbye rain. Yeah, shorts, tank top, flip-flop, it's all you bring. Got my toes nestled down deep in the sand, cold margarita in my left hand. Well, hello sunshine, goodbye rain. Hello sunshine, goodbye rain. Hello sunshine, goodbye rain.
So I can't.
That's what matters. Crowd on radio loves it. When the group loves it, all of us together, and then other people join in. To me, that's gasoline.
You can feel
Fire.
it.
Oh, yeah.
You can feel the
It's
energy.
hot.
Yeah.
Now, how was it growing up for you guys? Because I know we spoke with Joe and he told us a little bit about his childhood. How was it growing up for you, to become what you are today, basically, and find Joe
Oh,
after a while?
Go ahead, Joe.
How'd you grow up? Where did you go?
I started playing when I was 10 years old.
Mhm.
I've always played country music. And I have cousins that all play bluegrass, so I was introduced pretty early on. As I was growing up, here on the northeast coast of America, Southern rock was big over here for a while, in the early 80s or so. And, I was always a big fan of like Charlie Daniels, the Allman Brothers Band. So when we got to open for Charlie Daniels, that was
That's cool.
that was really, wow. Like I couldn't believe it. So, I feel like I've come full circle, where all the music that I grew up with and all the music that I learned as I was just starting out playing guitar, I'm still applying all of that stuff. And it's great to be in this band because I get to do that.
And who do you think was the most amazing person that you were growing up, you were always looking up to?
I gotta say, it was Charlie Daniels. Again, I was always big into Southern rock, and Charlie Daniels was the virtuoso of that genre.
Right.
And, You know, of course, Dwayne Allman is someone that I like to emulate. I'm also a big fan of blues, so, you know, I'm Albert King, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Freddie King, all the Kings, really. So,
the Kings.
you know, I've got a good blues background that, you know, makes you take a little bit of that and like bring it into the shows, so.
And I could actually feel it, you know, with that song, She's with the Band. It's like so much of different genres, but it flew so well together.
Yeah.
It was really, really amazing. Because like I kept thinking, there's some jazz, but no, this is really country, and then the rock comes in. It's like,
Oh, it's edgy.
It's Americana.
Yeah.
you
yeah,
know, it's Americana.
basically what America is all
Yeah,
about.
you feel it in, when it speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And then also, it's a country thing. I really like that as well. So with that, because it was a little different, right?
Mhm.
And but at the same time, it had that edge to it.
Yeah.
So tell me about that song.
Well, again, Mr. Vulpis presented us with one of the many hours we spent over here listening to tracks and saying, and him saying, you know what, I think this would be good for you. I think this would be good for you.
I've been thinking about this for years.
Yeah. So we kind of narrowed it down to what we all collectively thought would be the best couple of tracks to come out of the gate with. And we figured, you know what, with my style and Joe's style guitar playing and the rest of the band's feel, we kind of thought it was best to come out of the gate with a little bit more of a upbeat, kind of an edge. More of what we're really about, you know.
Do you have an edgy lifestyle? That what brings you to those songs? I'm just curious.
I'm always on the edge. Yeah.
What was it, Joe? Same thing?
Yeah.
I'm a little bipolar.
Joe.
Musicians. There is no
I'm
stealing.
a little bipolar. Where I have 2 young kids, so, you know, like I said earlier tonight, I was a school night. You know, I'm very much doing the daddy thing during the week, so I'm very, very mellow during. You know, weekends come along, yeah, we cut it loose.
Yeah.
How's the family, like, in your case, supports the whole, because you have to be traveling and away.
There's not much support.
There's no much, so then...
You know, they're
No,
gonna
that's a
watch-
lot.
they're gonna be
I'm
watching
exaggerating.
this.
You know, I get support to a point, I guess.
We support you, man.
I know, you're my family. You're my family.
That's right.
So, Joe,
Yeah.
about your childhood, going back.
Going back, well, I was born and raised in Illinois, so I'm
Chicago,
a Midwestern guy. Smaller town, you know, 2 main drags. Everybody used to cruise and try to find out where parties were or something to do.
Were you a big party animal at the time?
At the time, I've been known to be, yeah. Yeah. It was your typical, you know, Midwestern small town. Family's very important. Everybody in the family got along. Everybody in town knew my father, like, you know, one of those kind of things.
Who was your dad?
My father was his name was Joe also, and he was, you know, a regular guy, man. He worked at a factory that they used to make car windshields, and a very blue collar, down to earth, loved his baseball, you know, loved his kids, me, and I have 2 sisters and family, and it was just a very, very easy, you know, well, not easy life, but, you know, you typical country kind of life.
But you had everything, basically, like, for the family.
Yeah, we had everything we needed. Nothing was fancy. It was, you know, I mean, we had a roof over our head, and he paid the bills, and we had food in our mouth, but it wasn't anything fancy by any means. It was, you know, small little houses, and which I think was great as far as everybody getting along, because we never really had any issues growing up as far as, you know, my 2 sisters bickering because one of them was wearing the other one's shirt or took her hairbrush or something like that, but I was kind of always out of the picture until I was trying to get in their room, because one of them was 10 years older than me, so, you know, when she was 18 with her high school girlfriends and they're listening to to music in her bedroom, and I'm like the annoying little brother, like, you know, my friends aren't over. Can I come in and play? You know, you got some hot girlfriends. Can I come over and play? And you know, they wouldn't let me in. But that's basically, yeah.
With your girlfriend.
Yeah, I just want to go hang out. I'm not gonna, you know.
So was the idea to be in a band because you wanted to be with the girls, or what was the idea?
No, you know what it was, and I'll tell you a real quick story. When my folks signed me up for my birthday. They bought me a real cheap acoustic guitar from J.C. Penney's or something like that. When I was 12 years old, and they signed me up for guitar lessons because my mother. At one point, we moved into a different house, and I finally had my own room. You know, being the only boy. And I had a bunch of hand-me-down vinyl records from my sisters that I used to play at full volume, you know. So my mother was always banging on the door, like, you know, turn it down, da-da-da-da-da. And finally she opened a door one day and she caught me jumping off the bed with a tennis racket, playing air guitar and like lip-syncing to, I don't know, it was like the Monkees or something like that. But she told my father after that, she told me the story, she said, you know what, we got to really do something with him, you know. So they realized I love music because I was always in there listening to it. And they bought me a little guitar and signed me up for lessons. And from there, it just snowballed. And
who was your first like influence as far as musicians?
Elvis, because my mother was a huge fan. And my household, it was Elvis, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, Alabama, Ronnie Millsap, you know, Charlie Rich, like a bunch of old Johnny Paycheck, Merle Haggard. So growing up, I heard a lot of that. My sisters would be out doing their thing, and when I was stuck home and they didn't have their girlfriends over, my mother used to actually sit me down when she'd play Elvis songs, especially gospel songs, and say, you know what, Joe, have a seat. Listen how pretty his voice is. Listen how beautiful this song is. And I'd be itching to go outside and ride a bike or whatever, but I listened to her, and to this day, I love it. I mean, I go through phases where, you know, we'll pull something up on iTunes that I just thought about. Actually, last night we did some Charlie Rich stuff we brought up, and I'm thinking about, I'm going to talk to Joe about it, but maybe doing some remakes on some of this stuff, you know?
Now, Joe, when you decided that you will be working on a particular project with the guys and you pick like a song or something like that, what do you think is the process for you? How do you start it? How do you approach them to them and say, I have something cool for you, let's try it?
I try to I know the band and the style, so I try to internalize when I'm working on something, you know, and I try to mold it. And with these guys, what I like about the whole situation, one of the things I like is that it's edgy. And I try to, you know, stay away from just what's safe in Nashville. You know, I try to tell them to get outside the box because everything that's inside the box isn't getting noticed. And so when I'm writing, I like to think hard right, hard left. Go outside the norm and push the envelopes. And I've been criticized for it, but a lot less than I've been praised for it. So I start with that approach, and then I don't try to waste songs or time. I'll usually write a handful of things, and you know, and I'll go see the guys. I'll be with them on the gig and we'll sing live, whatever. And then I usually feel like the light bulb goes off. I'm like, okay, check this out. You know, see what you think. And most of the times we're all in agreement.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then I know you're working with such an amazing different genres of artists. So is it because your background is very unusual from like normal kids, you would say, or how do you...
Well, you guys love to try and pick on me with my background.
How do you come...
What did I say last time anyway? I forgot what that was about.
Well, actually you can recap a little bit like about coming back when you were growing up. Why you picked music? You know, and why the genres are so different? Because even like country rock, so different. I mean, the sound is incredible. But it's so different than a regular norm would be. And then like Nashville say, oh, we cannot take it. Or some rock station, oh no, this is not exactly rock. So how do you cross over and you do so many different styles?
So the question is, how do I do so many different styles?
Exactly, and so many different artists. I mean, very different from each other.
Well, yeah, there's a big difference. We just had the thing with the classical artists, the harpist for the Philharmonic.
And that was good too, yeah.
Those... Everything that I get involved in excites me. I grew up, well, unlike Joe, which I don't believe the story, I was totally going for the girls.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the girls.
If I could play this thing,
It'll come.
those pimples on my face are just knocking.
Okay, maybe that was a little.
Yeah. I played for their mothers. I didn't care. I was like, whatever I could do to get a date when I was a teenager.
Was it the real?
I'd go out with their grandmothers if they were under 50. Yeah. So, okay, so I like different styles, but it's what I like. I mean, I grew up classically. I played classical, legit classical.
What did your instrument that you played first?
I grew up on piano, and then my parents were always my parents are real business people. I have 3 other brothers, and they never, they said if you love something, you do it. If it works for you, great. The second you don't respect it, and it takes away from your life, or it's abusive, then you will not do it anymore. So if you like something, you earn it. I wanted a keyboard, so my father said, "Mom, do your paper route for a year, and what you make, if you still love playing and you take your lessons and do your schoolwork, we'll help you out." And that was the first deal, to get my first synthesizer, and then to get lessons. So they always made me work for it, but I grew up with a lot of music in my life. My parents were really, they were into big bands growing up, so that's part of the reason why I went to school for arranging. I was fascinated by like 40-piece, 50-piece, big bands. I love the horns. I mean, even the way Quincy Jones and Ray Charles and people like that, the big orchestras, they were amazing. So that was something I always loved. I didn't listen to a ton of country music as a kid, but then when I went to college, I got into country music. My roommate, my first roommate was, I'm trying to remember what part of the Midwest he was from. He might have actually been from Chicago also, but somewhere over there. And the guy loved Willie Nelson. He loved listening to old school. I mean, he loved Loretta Lynn. I mean, he loved, I'm trying to think. Garth wasn't out there, but it was like people like
George Jones.
George Jones. I mean, but I always heard stuff I never knew what it was, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And it just evolved, and then I started going to Nashville. And
what was your first trip to Nashville?
oh my gosh, I was getting divorced, and up until that point, this is many years, 14 years ago, my wife at the time she hated country. And I really went to spite her because I wanted to go. And she's like, you shouldn't go, you're wasting the money, and I'm going to get it in the settlement. I'm like, well, you're going to get it anyway, so I just thought to the point and went. And I didn't come back. I went and I stayed I went for like a 3-day trip. I didn't come back for like a month. I mean, I knew, things weren't, there was nothing much to go home to. We both knew what was about to come, and I couldn't leave. I mean, the cab driver dropped me off right on Music Row, and I just looked around, and I was just like, wow. I started walking into studios. I landed my first intern gig at a studio within 1 hour. I said, hey, I can operate that. I could do that. I was like, well, what do you want to get paid? I said, nothing. He goes, you can start right now. And I started, and I worked 1 week without money. And then I started making like $4 an hour, as an assistant. And I just stayed around it. And I literally, that's what I started to do. And then within about a year or so, I had a small, tiny, not like a half a bedroom. I was renting from somebody, and it was a place to bounce back and forth to. And then country became my thing, I still loved everything else, but I knew that it was also something in my blood that I had to do.
So you have your ex-wife to thank.
I really want to thank her.
It was like an influence towards Nashville. That's where I'm going.
Yeah, I love Nashville.
Now, do you guys go through turmoil in your personal relationship? And we don't need to talk about it if you don't want to.
Well, you just dragged me under the bus.
Yeah, right. So do you think it's an influence, or how do you actually bring it up? Because I know every artist, no matter what, you always feel something when it's happening in your life.
Yeah.
So how does it affect you with your music and career?
Well, for me, I've also am a songwriter, and I've spent many of our hours actually writing stuff because of feelings, good, bad, indifferent, ugly, whatever it is, and it's an outlet. I mean, once you kind of into the whole music thing, whether it be singing, writing, playing guitar, there's always a channel that I think can kind of take you to that happy place if you're feeling sad, mad, whatever it is. I mean, for me.
Do you think it could be a substitute if you feel really down, Joe? What do you think?
Oh yeah, well, he's saying exactly. I agree with everything Joe just said. That's what makes a great songwriter. And Joe also, I mean, you know, it's not just about the songs I've written with these guys and stuff, but Joe has a lot of songs he plays with the band. And that is an artist's outlet. I mean, that's how I live and shrink. It's not easy being an artist. I mean, anyone in this world will say, oh, you know, it's been great, but they'll also tell you about the dark times. You know, it's nice to get on stage in front of 10,000 people, but there's a lot of stages with 10 people, you know, in the audience, and fights and brawls, and you suck, and you're great, and, you know, whatever, but you got those, that's part of the dues, and it takes a toll on you. But you know something, you have to love it, and you got to be willing to weather the storm, and that's what tests your passion and your commitment. And that's what makes it work.
Yeah.
And then Joe, I know with Wall Street and everything else, it's such a complete kind of like corporate, different environment, but a different phase of a human being. What do you think keeps you insane? Because I know it's like day and night for you probably.
That's just it. It's two polar opposites, where during the week I'm largely getting people to do things that they don't want to do. And that takes a certain amount of persistence and pestering to get that job done. By the time the weekend rolls around, I'm just so sick of that, where, you know, now I get to do something that puts a smile on people's faces, you know, so.
Clark Kent.
One kind of balances out the other, and that works. It is very, it's as opposite as they are, it's the yin and the yang thing, it definitely works.
Now, what is in store for you now? What's the next project that you're working on that is brand new?
Joe will tell you all about what's the next single.
Well, yeah, we're actually recording as we speak. "Cowboy in New York City," a song that's
Cool song.
that Joe wrote. That we debuted this song at out on Long Island, NYCB Theater at Westbury, which is a
The big Westbury Theater.
great venue, one of our favorites.
Who'd you play with that night? That was
We played with Chris
Chris
Young that night. We were doing a little acoustic thing ahead of him, and we had put that song in the set. And I mean, anytime you get, again, it was one of those moments where it was like as hot as the stage lighting was and stuff like that, and you're sweating and going through I had actual goosebumps again because it was, when Joe was there.
I was there. It was awesome.
There.
They were singing along.
There's 3,000 people singing a song they never heard before.
It was awesome.
You know?
I mean, even the people at Chris Young's camp, they were just like, you know,
So
this is the opening act. You know?
yeah,
We had a good moment.
it was a great moment. So that's one song we're cutting, and another song called "I Got You." That's another great cut that Joe wrote that we're in the process of. We've got rhythm tracks stuff done now, so it'll be up on iTunes real soon.
Now, what was behind the song? What was the idea? How did you come up with that?
Cowboy in New York City?
Yeah.
You know something? It was written and I can never find the marriage. And again, it was one of those things that sat in my head saying, you know, I would pray for it. I mean, I pray every night. And honestly, you would hear my prayers. I'm like, okay, I hope.
Yeah, so when you heard us do it at Westbury, I knew that was gratifying.
Oh my God, I was elated.
Like,
But I prayed for someone to come along that could do it.
you know, these songs, a lot of time, most of the time for me, you know, this is one of the reasons why I went to his band. You know, because he had a band that was doing covers, but he was also doing originals. Originals, it's sort of like, try to picture an elephant if you hadn't seen one before, you know, and when you get these pieces of music and you're trying to imagine, like, what is it going to be like, you know, that's the fun part.
Yeah.
And then you play it and people, that's the thing I was trying to picture. It finally happened, and it's like, it's great.
And I know there was a song that reached international.
65 Roses was one of them that we did real well with. That was a song I wrote for my nephew who has cystic fibrosis, and it was a song that we would donate money and stuff to the cause, try to help out everybody about it. And it did real well on country radio, and then there's another one off Locked, Rocked, and Loaded that called Hello Sunshine, Goodbye Rain, that we still play live, and we did this song with a gentleman, Mr. Gary U.S. Bonds, who's man, this guy's been kicking around and had some great stuff happening, you know. Yeah, the Beatles opened up for him when they
That's
first
amazing.
came to the U.S. So we were honored to have. He's a good friend of ours.
Now, he's a partier.
He's a party, yes, yeah. But a great guy, and those two songs did real well for us as far as on an international kind of response and getting some great feedback and
He's the rock star.
yeah. So
Now, with going through, helping your nephew, and I know you're involved with other things too, what do you think is the advice would be for young musicians out there? Because I know a lot of struggles, and especially like Wall Street and then people doing different things. How do you keep your sanity and how do you keep on going? Like,
Well,
what keeps you going so strong?
I think you got to believe in what you're doing. I think you definitely got to love what you're doing. If your heart's not in it, maybe you should pursue something that you really do love. But I truly believe, and the best advice I can give any young people trying to come up in this business is believe in yourself. You got to be able to handle positive and negative reviews and responses from people. Be confident without being cocky, and just keep plugging, keep pushing at it, I did a radio interview one time, and the guy said, we really appreciate your persistence. And I said, well, you know what, I figure if I knock on a door a few times and no one answers it and I'm ringing a doorbell, eventually if I start kicking at it, it'll probably open up. So that's kind of what we've been doing for the last couple of years, and it's paying off with, obviously the help of Joe Vulpis and some great, Donna as our management, and some great team behind us, and a great band. We're having a great time right now, and we're just we're plugging along. See where it goes,
Joe, you want to say something too in regards to the wishes, or what would inspire you to advise someone who is like on the shaky road? Because I know the kids go through stages.
Yeah, I see this happening with my daughter.
Yeah.
And how old is your daughter?
Daughter's 11 years old. She plays cello.
Mm-hmm.
And it was around a year ago. She got very, very upset because, oh, Dad, there are a lot of other players in the orchestra that are better than me, and, I want the same attention from the instructors, and, how do I get it? I said, you got to be willing to do what the other kids won't do. Well, what is that, Dad? Get up at 5:30 in the morning, practice drills for an hour, and then we'll do some sight reading for 20, 25 minutes. And we had done that for about 2.5 to 3 weeks, and she made a leap. She had gotten better, and so I think what's most important is that I just taught her to, go outside the box, do something you wouldn't normally do to get better. And if you don't have to keep doing it forever, if you practice in that way for 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, or a month, you can just take it in chunks. That's how you become proficient on any instrument. So, try to live that as much as possible myself too. So that's what I do. That's what I got my daughter doing, and everybody else.
That's amazing.
5:30 in the morning.
5:30 in the
Get
morning.
up and you just that's your focus.
If you're my dad, I'd be flipping burgers. I didn't get up at 5:30.
Joe, 5:30 in the morning for you?
No, I'd rather go to bed at 5:30.
Well, I was just
No, I get it. He's right.
just trying to get her into a mode where that was the start of her day.
Yeah.
To become better.
That's good.
Like-
I agree with these guys. I mean, it's all that. You gotta love it. You gotta, you gotta rise with the highs and fall with the lows, and just be willing to get back up. There's really nothing else to say. I mean, it's your best friend most of the time, and really all of the time, because the natural lows that you're gonna go through in life, whether it's a breakup or you lose your job, or as well as the highs. When you're a songwriter or a creative person, somehow it sort of seems to like put its arm around you.
Yeah.
So But it's, I don't know, as a writer and even as a producer, it's mood swings. You just have, as you get older, you start to figure it out. I mean, even now I'm like, oh, I understand now. It only took 40 years.
Get it, man.
So, and now I think if I was 15, 20 going through it again, forget it. I'd be like, oh my God, it's tough. It's tough for a kid. It's tough now. I mean, I was telling these guys in the studio before, I said, I've got this other project I'm working on in Nashville. It's doing great. It's charting in the 40s. It's doing great. And it seems like, and we have some of this too. With every bit of great success, man, there's an obstacle that comes out of nowhere and smacks you in the back of the head. And in this one instance, it was a review that I had gotten. They reviewed me as a producer, and they basically, the song has been leaping up the charts. But this one guy just wanted to bang me over the head. And I'd like to say his name and put out a reward to beat him, but I was told that's not a good idea. So I was told I might do some time. But something was there.
I have his name. I'll be ready.
In the teleprompter, right there. But something, as upset as I was when the article came out, it was one person's opinion, and it made the song jump up like six more spots. And good or bad press, you turn it around. I was motivated, and we went out and got something big after that in a show. And I was like, hey, and a lot of people told me this. A lot of good mutual friends. Arthur told us this, a good buddy of ours. As long as you get impressed, it doesn't matter sometimes. If you know what you believe in, you got it. So, so just do it. Love it. Why do you do what you do? You love it. I know you love it because you're working all hours of the night and I see it. And that's all you can tell. So my parents said that to me. Said, if you want to do this, just love it and make it work for you. The second it becomes destructive, I'm not letting you do it anymore. And that was what's instilled in me. So just love it to death because it's the best friend you'll ever have. 3 wishes. Well, health, happiness, and success.
How about health, happiness, and virility?
Fertility?
Virility, to be virile.
Yeah, I'll be virile.
Strong.
You took all my 3. Both you guys. Yeah, health, happiness,
fertile.
success. I guess he pretty much nailed it.
Those sound like the good 3. Those are safe. I know you don't
Come
like
on,
those.
I'm giving you some background music here.
Nah, I can't. I think you're good with those.
Yeah, health, happiness, success. I think those are good ones. Those are pretty deep.
They are. It kind of sums it all up in 3 words.
Yeah.
That's a tough call.
Sorry, Olga, I had to use it. We had to use it.
You could say, I have to pay tolls on the way home.
I like that one. I like that a lot.
Right?
Yeah, fix the deficit.
Right.
Legal no.
I wish my Speedo fit me better.
Yeah. I wish I had a Speedo.
Great wishes, guys.
That's great.
Yeah. There's so many things we could say, but you got to be careful because it goes public.
Yeah, I think those are good.
And you signed your life away on those.
Yeah, you sign your life actually.
I signed your name on it, so.
Yeah, she can print everything.
Yeah.
All right, ready? 2, 3, 4.
In the Big Apple on 74. I had a 6-gun and 10 gallons since I was born. Passerbys would laugh and say, look, it's Crocodile up on Diddley. Still I'm proud to be a cowboy in New York City. While walking through Times Square, I saw a cowboy playing guitar in his underwear. Then was he'd cock his gun and say, yeah, go ahead, punk, yeah, make my day. Still I'm proud to be a cowboy in New York City. Most people course. Music scene's got everything, but Johnny, Hank, and Willie are all I need. Most people here got cats and dogs, but I've got a horse, of course. Music scene's got everything, but Johnny, Hank, and Willie are all I need. One fun day I got hitched to Jenny Lee, and we honeymooned in Nashville, Tennessee. Never went back, bought a house on a farm. Got 2 kids now that sleep with 6 guns on. And even though the locals, they call me a Yankee, still I'm proud to be a cowboy from New York City.
We love it.
That's cool. That was fun.
PopImpressKA.
My vacation is here, long overdue.